Let's move on to our second segment, which is website stories.
Now, for episode 41, I've gone for a video and I had to go back to Whiteboard Fridays, our favorite series from Moz.com. I mean, honestly, I just love the way they do it. And everyone, it's a wonderful lesson as well in simple content marketing that really pays off. So the idea being that you have an expert talking about a subject, typically SEO, content marketing, and other forms of website experience. And what they do is they've written and jotted down some thoughts on a whiteboard, and they talk you through it. And we had the chance there to have a lady called Purna Virji. She's the principal consultant and global program manager at LinkedIn. So what is interesting, Johnny, she's bringing her kind of lead generation, commercial aspects, personal branding into the world of SEO. And she put together a presentation called How to Create High Impact Content Using Backward Design. And quite intriguing title. And love SEO, but we do love SEO that is grounded in good commercial principles. I also do like SEO from a reputation management point of view, and I would encourage everyone to watch the video, also read the article, but also pay attention to that page and how it's being structured. I think you'll agree, Johnny, it's a good lesson for anyone who's a bit busy, would like to do more content, and literally in what is a 7-minute video with all the transcription and so on, it makes for a very, very appealing page. But very quickly, Purna takes us through 3 key elements to explain what she means by backward design, using the example of someone selling a new model of a car from a company called Fancy Schmancy Smart Car, which I think, if it's not been claimed already, Purna should go ahead and buy the domain name instead of the company. But 3 stages. 1 is reflection, 2 is planning, and 3 is measuring. And what I loved about the reflection stage, she was saying before you even start to do keyword research, which is usually how people may start SEO. Before you even start to write any content, start by being clear on 3 key elements. Be clear about your desired business outcomes and impacts. Could be revenue, could be reputation, could be a range of things. But can you be clear and explicitly express what you want for the business? As a result of which, can you be clear on the desired reactions and the behavior change from your audience? And then therefore, can you be clear on the content types and formats that will help you achieve the business outcomes and the audience outcomes? And I think she's clear. I agree with her that very often when people talk to me, they want to get straight into the content creation mode. And I'm the one to rein them in to say, well, actually, tell me more about the business or, excuse me, your audience and so on, because without that information, I might give you just some general advice as opposed to something very specific. The planning, I think, was very, very good. And what she's saying, though, if you think about it, and I'm going to use her words here, before you even start creating a single word of content, you want to build your own content brief. Now, how many clients do you know, Johnny, that rush straight into content creation and do not write a brief? And what she's saying is a simple 1-pager where you capture essentially what you want to achieve, what are the questions and so on. And I shall leave people to listen and read the article here. But this idea of a content brief before you even start your keyword research and content creation is very, very important. You're more likely then to achieve. And then with the measurements, I thought she had a lovely way to go about it. What she was saying is sometimes measurement is a bit too narrow, looking just at the results. And I think what she was saying is, if you think about the wide range of business goals and outcomes, you may want to measure 4 different stages of that customer journey. So number 1, when you review the content marketing using the backward design, what was the reach? And can we learn some lessons from that? As a result of which, what did we get in terms of reactions, good, bad, and ugly? What was the response? And finally, what were the results? So she's looking at 4 different ways to measure impact, as opposed to just the end point, if you will, Johnny, of what did we get for it.
Yeah, and do you know, I've actually heard Purna speak at an SEO conference. So she's always sharing good advice, and this is really good advice. So many times clients will write for the wrong reason. So it's, if you're writing for the search engines, if you're writing for voice search, or if you're writing for how to appear in AI, that's the wrong reason. You need to, always be focusing on whether it be the consumer, whether it be the business, whether it be whoever it is your target audience is, whoever your potential client, your potential customer, it always has to be written for them. And I love the idea of spinning this on its head and thinking, okay, What do you want them to be doing once they've read this? What are you hoping that they're going to get out of this? How are you going to leave them feeling? What are you going to, what are you going to leave them expecting or understanding once they've read this, once they've absorbed this, once they've engaged with it? Instead of right at the start of the funnel, which is, what keywords can we put in there? What title? So thinking about right at the end, I like the idea of spinning on its head and thinking, how do we want them to feel afterwards? And that helps think about, their pain points, their common questions that they might be having, how you can ultimately add value by sharing experiences, building trust, and providing content that's really going to make a difference and leave them, whatever that be, wanting more, wanting to speak to you, wanting to explore your products and services, or perhaps just being able to go off and do something and fix something themselves, whatever that might be. So, yeah, I like the spin on thinking about it the other way around.
I thought you might. And listening to you reminds me of the conversation I have sometimes with my friends working in PR. When they go and meet a new client, and the client says, I want to be in the papers, or I want to be on this. And then they go back and say, well, but why? What are we trying to achieve here? Because if they feel it's comfortable enough to say, well, I've got plenty of ways for you to be in the papers, but that would not necessarily be right for your reputation, in jest. And I think this idea of reflecting first on the desired outcomes and the behavior, and what you're saying in terms of the content. So literally, if you, for example, run a business where having meetings with clients is very important to you, so because you convert very highly once they've met you, then everything you do then needs to point towards this idea of having a meeting with Johnny is something that I would desire to do. And therefore, the content, the website, everything that you do is there to showcase that having meetings with Johnny is an experience that one should seek out as opposed to avoid. So this level of reflection, and therefore how this is impacting your content effort, I like it, and it's certainly more plausible for the vast majority of our customers than just going and do some keyword research and start writing content that you don't feel connected with.
Yeah. Valuable content, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about how adding value, simple as that, which that's what we do on a daily basis, is it not?